everyone. Welcome back to Poppin In with Alexa and Molly. I'm Molly.
And I'm Alexa.
And we are fresh off of watching the Met Gala red carpet for the last 2 hours.
Yeah, we watched E! Live, which I forgot about.
I did too.
I actually only watch E! For these red carpet things.
Yeah, I was saying to you earlier, they showed a commercial for Kristen, what's her name? Cavallari's new show. Yeah. And where she's interviewing people, didn't know who any of the people were. And I was like, oh yeah, I guess this is just if you watch E! You know these things, but who, I don't know.
Yeah, I used to watch E! All the time.
Me too.
Religiously.
I watched the Kardashians all the time.
Oh my god, yes, back when they were funny.
Yes.
And their faces moved.
And interesting storylines.
Yes.
I wonder if so we didn't get to see if the Kardashians showed up to the Met Gala, but I don't curious.
Think I think they
they're
would
always
have by now.
Yeah,
it starts
you're right.
in 10 minutes. We're recording at 7:50 p.m. on a Monday.
Yeah.
The first Monday in May.
Yeah. We did see a lot of people, but there were still people who hadn't shown up yet, so who knows?
Yeah, that's true. I just, do you think there's, people who are fashionably late to the Met Gala?
But I think you're right that they would have shown up by now. But I was saying earlier, I think the Kardashians are always so weird looking together.
Yeah. It's you forget what they look like together. Separately, it's wow, this is a stunning person, but together you're wait, what's going on?
It's because of their drastic height differences. They just almost look clownish when they're all together. It just never and especially at the Met Gala, because they all have different looks, that sometimes it just it all clashes when they all stand next to each other.
Yeah.
I just always think it looks kind of goofy.
This is and I don't mean this in a rude way, but I was thinking the other day, what would I do if I were standing here and I just saw someone that looked like Kylie Jenner, as in as much work is done, the way she dresses and holds herself, but just at Target, just a random person.
I don't know.
It'd be so out. I just feel if they could never not be famous, because it's not looking like they do. You could never just be in the real world.
Yeah, and this was us for the last 2 hours, by the way, just totally just fully just judging, talking about everyone's looks as if we are wearing, I showed up to Alexa's house wearing the same t-shirt as her. Yeah. I'm in little athletic shorts, a big t-shirt.
My t-shirt actually smells like pickle juice because I spilled a bunch on me earlier, but meanwhile I'm looking at these people in full-on Chanel and I'm
Louis
I don't
Vuitton,
know.
And I'm I've seen better.
And one dress had 75,000 crystals on it and I'm ugh.
The amount of times I was just I'm not impressed by that. As I spill wine on
myself, I'm I don't know about that.
Yeah, and our baggy t-shirts. Yeah.
I'm not even wearing a bra. I'll be real.
Yeah.
Sorry, everyone. Whatever.
Yeah.
Who cares?
I'm not wearing makeup, but neither was Pamela Anderson, so.
But yeah, so anyways, the Met Gala, the 2025, it's the first Monday in May as of tonight as we are recording. And the theme this year was Superfine, Tailoring Black Style. But then the dress code was supposed to be, quote, tailored for you, is so it's the theme and then the theme within the theme, which I think is interesting.
Which always throws everybody off.
I actually would be very, I'm curious, because they have the fashion houses, design the dresses and, outfits and stuff, but how much of it is, of the star being well, I'd like to do this? Because, just having ideas for something like that, any of the themes, I'd be I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, certain people I would think, would have their own ideas, but then I'm sure some people do not, I don't think people come in there necessarily with their own ideas. I would say for the most part it's probably the designer.
We were talking about this earlier about what
stylist
theme would you want to do, and I was Shakespeare, and I said I would dress up as Ophelia when she's dead in the water, but you were right, everyone would do that. And you know what I would do instead? I would somehow do the goblet from A Merchant in Venice.
But see, that's the kind of thing you would do.
Merchant of Venice.
No one would come dressed as Ophelia. It'd be some kind of, it'd be the drop of water that's in the, you know what I mean?
Yeah, what's the one where it's it's not a tsunami. There were no tsunamis in Shakespeare. The Tempest.
Oh, yeah.
You could be the swirl.
Yeah. I'm actually not that familiar with The Tempest.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Honestly, all of it's fine. It all kind of blends together in my mind. Mm-hmm. You could be the balcony that Julia
it'd be something like that.
Poison. You could be Poison.
Oh, Poison. Drip. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Hire
now
us.
We're talking.
We've figured out the next.
But
theme.
what would the name of it be? Whatever. We can.
Written in the Stars.
Okay.
Because it's
I like it.
Shakespeare plays or playthings.
Love it.
There we go. There you go. Anyways, the actual Met Gala this year.
So the theme was exploring the fashion narrative and history of the Black dandy. And so to quote Ruth E. Carter, she said, Black dandyism is a form of performance, identity, and individuality. It's how we define ourselves. It's a cultural declaration. Male or female or any gender, it's genderless.
Yes, and she did the costuming for like Black Panther. I think she recently did Sinners, so she's very familiar. Like Sinners is all like, I mean, because it's that time period of like Black dandyism.
Yeah, which people were like, I saw a thing that somebody was, because you were asking actually, you were like, I wonder if Michael B. Jordan will show up, and I was like, I had seen a thing that somebody joked like, what if he shows up dressed as Stack and Smoke?
It's actually, has he ever been to the Met Gala?
I don't think I've ever seen him there, but
I would love to see those
could be
cheekbones
wrong.
at the Met Gala.
I know, I could be wrong.
I cannot imagine. But yeah, so like I was reading this article from NPR, and basically they were explaining that like for Black communities, dressing fine has been a long form of resistance. It's a form of activism that threads self-worth, rebellion, and creativity into every seam. So there was like some talk about how like, especially with like Black dandyism, it's like basically kind of like an early 1900s to 1940s type of dress essentially, and how like people in the Black community used to get in trouble for dressing like that because sometimes like people would be like, oh well, you're like you're not allowed to dress in like fine clothing or that sort of thing. But it's interesting because a lot of like fashion comes from Black culture that we then appropriate and make it into mainstream culture. So it's just interesting to, I don't know, to think about that sort of thing. And I know like Coleman Domingo was like really excited about this theme, and I think, and I might be quoting this wrong, but when he was doing an interview beforehand.
And he's one of the co-chairs.
He is one of the co-chairs. Yes, he was talking about how, like, his inspirations, he was like, honestly, one of my inspirations, I think it was his dad or his grandfather, was like, you know, he did kind of like a workman's job, but every day when he came home, he was like, he made sure he was dressed. Like, he looked good because, like, presentation is an important part of, like who you are in a self-identity.
Yeah.
But it's also interesting because people were talking, like, I know we talked about this beforehand to see what people would wear, because it is like about like Black culture and Black fashion. So I don't think it was ever going to feel like super costumey.
No.
Because I think it would have been like a weird appropriation feel if it had. I think it's also important to note that this theme, so it comes from like the theme is Superfine, Tailoring Black Style, which is going to be the theme for like the Met, like the not exposition, but like the gallery that they're doing this year. And part of it comes from this book that's by Monica L. Miller. She's a professor at Barnard College, and the book is called Slaves to Fashion, Black Dandyism and the Styling of Black Diasporic Identity. And so I just think like it's interesting to take that concept in this time of like when we're kind of stifling a little bit of like arts and creativity and like people of color and that sort of thing, to really like for the Met Gala to be like, actually we're gonna put it like full frontal, this is what we're gonna be celebrating tonight. I think it's actually like really poetic and beautiful. Yeah,
absolutely. Because Coleman Domingo he was the first to be interviewed on the carpet, and he was
he was glowing, honestly.
He was glowing.
But he always seems
such
like
a beautiful man. I love
like
him
nice.
so much. He seems like just such a special person. Like I'm literally just like obsessed with who he is as as a person. But he was in his outfit, I believe he said was inspired. It was the Black church. Yeah, and he was talking about the spirituality in fashion. And like celebrating spirituality in fashion, and it was really interesting. But did we read the other co-chairs?
No, but to go off of that, we will in a second. I think like, so Coleman Domingo had this quote that, I don't know, it just really impacted me, and it's a quote from George C. Wolfe. So it's Coleman Domingo quoting a quote. And he was talking about like the creative and innovative spirit of Black people in shaping trends in fashion, and the quote was, God created Black people and Black people created style. And I just, like, when I read that, I was like, that's just, like, really, it just felt really impactful to hear him say that, and to just, again, hear this, like, see this celebration of, like, Black fashion and culture and that sort of thing. But the co-chairs, to answer your questions, it was Coleman Domingo, Lewis Hamilton, A$AP Rocky, Pharrell Williams, and obviously, as always, Anna Wintour. Yeah. So besides Anna Wintour, actually no co-chairs were women this year, which is interesting, I don't think.
Yeah, that's true. Because I think last year,
I think Pharrell was,
but in the past it's been like Zendaya, Blake Lively.
I feel like Pharrell was a co-chair last year.
Yeah,
too.
I feel like he was. I feel like A$AP Rocky was.
Yeah, I feel like they sometimes regularly have co-chairs.
Bad Bunny definitely was last year.
Oh yeah,
he was. I can't remember who else was.
Yeah.
But I feel like it was fitting for Coleman Domingo because to me he just kind of always like shuts this whole event down.
Yes, every event that he goes to.
Yes.
Also, this is such a weird thing that I do, but sometimes I classify people as like Lord of the Rings like subgenres, and I think Coleman Domingo would definitely be an elf. He gives like elf vibes where he's just like beautiful, graceful, smart, kind. Like I
can't contribute to that, but I believe
I know
you.
I would be a hobbit, as in like eating all the time. Kind of clumsy,
and you're cozy. I'm not agreeing with the other stuff,
the hero.
But you're like cozy. I wonder who I am because I feel like spiritually I'm also a hobbit.
Yeah, I could see that. I think you would be too. I think that would also be an interesting theme, not just like Lord of the Rings, but maybe like a fantasy type of thing. I think I would love to see
people come dressed as hobbits with the big feet,
the hairy feet. Anyways, so we were watching some of the outfits, and I think we're in agreement of like, well, I think we're in agreement of at least who our two favorites were.
Yeah.
So far, from what we've seen, which is I think we've seen 90%.
Yes. Who are your favorites?
Diana Ross, really stunning. Like she had this long, beautiful, like just the train.
Okay, so Diana Ross is your... Okay, she had an 18-foot gown embroidered with her family's names, and it was the longest train.
Like everyone in her family ever? Like
I don't know, it was... And this was also after a 22-year hiatus from the Met Gala.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's crazy. So
the queen. And I think I am just like a little bit of a sucker for a train though, because anytime someone shows up to the Met Gala and they have a train that like
it's always like dramatic.
And I love that drama.
But I was saying to you like the train is like kind of show stopping, but I felt like the front of it, which you're probably just not even supposed to pay that much attention to the front, but the front didn't really like stand out to me. Like it wasn't my favorite, but obviously the gown is amazing.
Yeah. Then I loved, like we were talking about Sydney Sweeney.
Yes, and Sydney Sweeney, just everything looked so good.
Her body,
it was so perfectly.
It was very
tailored to you, like it was fitted to her body so well.
It was very jazz era reminiscent.
But Sydney Sweeney was definitely one of my favorites.
Yeah, and the thing is, I've never seen her look bad,
No.
But she just really like. It was so flattering in every single way. I really loved it.
We were talking about, I wasn't sure how she was on theme, though.
No, I think some people took the theme of, like, a dandy and just, like, that time period of, like, again, like, maybe early 1900s to 1940s and made it, like, a little bit more jazzy. Yeah. Because there were a lot of outfits I saw that were kind of, like, a little bit more jazz-inspired. Yeah. Because it is a hard theme. Like, I knew, like, we were going to see a lot of, like, takes on the suit.
Yeah, it was a lot of... Honestly, we were saying this, like, while we were watching it, the interviewers were, like, to me, the ones that had the best outfits, which always happens. I feel like sometimes, like, the interviewers, the people who are doing the panels of, like the... Not judging panels, but the ones that are up at the top, like... What's the word I'm trying to think of? Where you're talking about something. Commentary. The commentators are, to me, some of the best dressed.
Yeah. And it was interesting, like, I think some of the outfits, like, I was like, okay, there wasn't any one I think I was like, oh, I hate that.
Yeah, there were just some that, like, and again, they
just didn't wow me.
Yeah, and some just didn't wow me.
But I respect, like, I'm like, it is a tough category. Like, so again, a lot of people, like, it was just kind of, like, plays on the suit. Like, I think the last person we saw before we came up to record was Mindy Kaling. I thought she actually did a phenomenal job.
Look. Yeah.
And she made it very interesting. And then we also were, like, very floored by Sabrina Carpenter.
Yes.
And Doechii.
And Doechii I knew would...
Doechii shows up.
Yeah.
Shows out.
With
her cigar.
Yes. But, actually, so we were talking about Zendaya. How did you feel about Zendaya?
It didn't do anything for me.
It didn't wow me.
It kind of looked like a regular, like, thing that she would wear.
I know.
Just, like, any fashion
She
event.
looked incredible, obviously, but it just wasn't one of my favorite looks of hers.
Yeah. She usually, I think, does more, but also, Zendaya needs a break, I think. Like, I want to give her some rest.
I don't think I think she has been almost, like, on a hiatus in the last year. Like, I feel like I haven't heard from her, and now I think she's about to be in a ton of stuff.
Yeah. Well, I think that means that she's been working the past year. Because it's about to come out, you know what I mean? Right.
But, so, yeah, I guess then... Yeah, but do you really ever get a hiatus? Because then you're doing press for the things you're...
Right, exactly. And then as soon as the press is over, it's crazy.
It's almost like a full-time job.
Yeah, wow. More than that.
Yeah, more than that because you have like night shoots and stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, but Sabrina Carpenter actually
was actually one of my favorites.
When they first showed her, because they didn't show her full outfit, I was literally like top of the shoulders up. I was kind of like, I don't know how I'm going to feel about this. But then when they showed it, she was basically, it was a no pants outfit.
Yeah.
Which is very on trend. And she has the greatest little legs.
Well,
Not to sound like misogynistic. But
she does, like, she has such long legs. Meanwhile, she's 5 feet, which I just found out I guess I did know that she's 5 feet. But I was just telling Alexa earlier, we're going to have to repeat. We've been speaking for 2 hours, so we're going to have to repeat some conversations here. But we were just talking about how Quinta Brunson hosted SNL this weekend, and I found out on SNL that she's 4'11",
and I said she's
4'11"
short. Of Snatched.
Yes,
even
she's
seeing her
gorgeous.
on Abbott Elementary, I'm just like, wow, she is
gorgeous. And I love her outfits on Abbott Elementary.
Yeah, she does do.
But she's gorgeous. And then Sabrina Carpenter, for whatever reason, like showed up in her monologue, and they were both singing about how they're short girls, and I was like, wow, they are very, very short. That's crazy. But Sabrina Carpenter, as short as she is,
short fan Emily.
Shout out
who's
to our
also
short
4'11",
queen.
I think.
Oh, sorry. Well,
it's not
I
bad.
don't think she looks 4'11". 4'11" is like, that's a whole different foot. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Anyway, but I don't think like Emily looks like that. I mean, Quinta Brunson is short and small, but I didn't think she was that short. You know?
I feel like you can kind of tell when she's like standing next to people.
Everybody, yeah. But anyway, Sabrina Carpenter has really long legs, and and her bodysuits, she always looks amazing.
Also, she's very like toned. She's very like she dresses really well for herself. I did see this thing. This was like a week or so ago where people were like, I can't believe like I just learned Sabrina Carpenter wears a wig. Like that's crazy. And it's like, did you think that anyone's hair would ever do that? No, but it's so seamless.
Like I think I have wig blindness, as I said before.
I feel like I don't. I feel like I can spot a wig.
No, Nicole Kidman had me fooled for years.
Really?
Yes.
I feel like as a kid I saw her in Moulin Rouge and I was like, that's not her hair.
I had no idea.
But I'm also kind of a judgmental bitch, so maybe like I was born that way, you know?
Yeah. Oh, Bad Bunny.
Oh,
I have to talk about
I
Bad
do like
Bunny.
Bad Bunny. I will say, you said you liked his bag. I thought it was interesting. It kind of looked like a bowling bag to me.
I didn't catch what his like inspiration was, so I can't really speak to that. But he just like almost looks too incredible that sometimes I'm like, is he real?
Yeah, I would be. I feel like I haven't seen a lot of interviews and stuff from him, but I do love that he like basically is only doing shows in Puerto Rico because he's like, this is for my people.
He just announced his new tour and he's like completely skipping the US.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, okay.
Yeah.
Go off. That's fine.
Yeah.
If I want to go see you, if I had the money,
I would travel.
Yeah, I guess I'll have to travel. I won't be doing that. I don't have the money. But if I wanted to, I would. And go off, King. And also, we were talking about this. If I were doing one of these award shows or whatever, I would be wearing sunglasses on the red carpet too, because I would die. I thought
your retinas or whatever.
Yes, the reflection of the cameras in the window, I thought it was lightning. That's where I'm at. Like, it's actually shocking to me that people don't fall more.
I know, we were saying that those stairs are so slippy, slidey that it's like there's no way, like...
I just loved the first, like, 2 minutes we were talking about, like, oh, we're always paying attention to the people in the background, like, literally I don't want to say the nobody, but, like, you know what I mean? Like, the random people, and I was like, yeah, I don't know, I would, like, be so embarrassing in the background, and then that one girl just, like, fell.
Well, she didn't fall, she, like, slipped, but she didn't fall. She didn't. I have to, like, that was incorrect. I had to
and I was just like, that's why God would never put me on those stairs. He's looking out for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. But overall, like, I don't, it's not my favorite theme in terms of, I think there's, like, more interesting themes in Black fashion maybe that could be done, but I think I liked seeing how, like, the takes on it.
It's making me, like, really want to look into more books about fashion to kind of, like, foreshadow, to try to guess what future Met Galas could be about.
It's so hard, though. And someone was saying, because they have, like millions of garments in their, like, catalog or whatever.
Yeah.
So to come up with the themes is, like, pretty difficult.
I know.
And I think I love this. I can't remember what year it was, but one year they did, like, Sleeping Beauties or whatever. Yes. And it basically was...
It was last year.
Was it last year where they recycled the...
But it was, like, Garden of Time. It was, like, a super confusing theme because there was almost, like, 2 different themes.
And when someone was talking about it, I was like, I know exactly how that theme came out. I bet someone that works at the Met Gala, because they basically were, like, pulling out clothes and outfits that's, like... they never get to come out, you know, whatever. And I bet someone at the Met was just like, oh, I call these my Sleeping Beauties because they never get to, like, see the light of day. And so, like, Anna Wintour was like,
Because yeah,
put it on the
invite.
invite.
Sleeping Beauties was the theme, but then it was like Garden of Time was the dress code. I think I can't remember.
Yeah.
It was just like a really confusing one.
I do love the thing is, I feel like you don't you get like the Oscars, you get the Emmys, where it's just like, you're wearing dresses, you're wearing, and I'm like, this is a theme, and I love a theme.
I do too.
Should we do a theme party like this?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it won't be as fashionable, but it could be.
I mean, like, what are you thinking?
We could do like a theme. We do just whatever the Met Gala theme is that year. And it's just us in the living room with Poe.
I think we'd really have to talk about that one.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
We'd really need like money.
Yeah, that is true. But also I asked you this question, again, repeating a conversation we already had, is if you were a famous person and you had to be an ambassador for a fashion house, what would it be?
Yeah, I said Chanel or Gucci, maybe?
Yeah, I've decided Chanel, 100%. Yeah. Or, I like Louis
Vuitton.
Or, Yves Saint Laurent.
Yes.
YSL and Chanel. Mm-hmm. I love the clean lines. I love the, simple elegance. Would that be good for my body type and who I am as a person?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Wow. I love that. But anyways, that's the Met Gala. That's all I have to say about that.
Yeah, it's not really over yet.
Yeah, it's currently
we had to pull ourselves away. We still had 10 minutes of the red carpet, and we were still just we have to leave.
You know what the Met Gala reminds me of is innies and outies of Severance, where it's just nobody
Where do
knows.
They go?
Nobody knows what goes on the inside, and nobody can. You can't bring any written documents outside.
They showed him too. What's his name?
Oh, he's one of my favorites, Trammell.
I know, but they didn't show him on the red carpet. I only saw him on Twitter.
He also shows out.
Oh my god!
Everywhere he goes, I follow him on Instagram.
Talk about a gorgeous man.
Yes.
Remember that post of him in Italy or something,
yes.
And it was just all photos of just him posing in different places, and I just love him.
It's his photos are just here's me living my daily life, and it's stunning,
and he's
gorgeous.
Just the most aesthetically pleasing.
Yes, I love person. That. But so speaking of other big events of this past week, Righteous Gemstones ended.
Oh yeah, that was an event.
It really, so I watched it last night. I stayed up late. And again, I was saying this downstairs. I really need to talk to HBO about these late night premieres. I cannot be up till 11 p.m.
usually they're
on a Sunday.
9, but for whatever reason, they decided that Gemstones is not worthy of not, because to be fair, it was on after White Lotus and then after The Last of Us. So it's obviously. So that is a little late. I told you this weekend, I have been tired.
Yeah.
I have been
we went to a craft beer
exhausted.
Festival and we were out in the sun.
That actually, I genuinely think that took me out.
I did nothing on Sunday. I took 3 naps.
I didn't either. And Saturday night, I was feeling so just exhausted. I think the sun and the drinking, plus we went to a party Friday night. It was just
yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'm just still tired from that. Anyway.
I literally came home. I fell asleep for 2 hours. I woke up. I immediately ordered Moe's.
Oh, hell yeah.
And I was
Matthew and I ordered Chili's last night.
Is there Chili's around here?
Yeah, apparently so. I had the triple dipper for the first time in my life.
What's a triple dipper?
It is, you can choose, but it's usually it's the egg, it's Southwestern egg rolls.
Okay.
So triple dipper is where it's literally 3 dips, and it's
Southwestern egg rolls.
Crispy chicken tenders, which thinking about it now, I'm getting so hungry. Crispy chicken tenders, Southwestern egg rolls, and then little sliders. It's phenomenal. It really made my evening. And then Matthew forced us to watch Star Wars because it was May the 4th. Anyway,
I'll just let him have his joy, I guess. We should start eating snacks before we record.
I know, I'm actually starving. But so long story short, I did not watch Gemstones last night.
But you watched it today.
But I watched it today.
And what were your thoughts?
I thought it was actually okay. So I think when we were last talking to Emily about it, I was a little underwhelmed by the season at first.
Okay. Yeah.
I thought the Bradley Cooper episode was really interesting, but then both Matthew actually stopped watching it because he was just I don't feel like it's funny. And I kind of agreed. It had a weird vibe to it. But then literally after he stopped watching, it got funny again. So I don't know what, it just felt something felt off. The dialogue felt a little off. But then so I'm curious if anybody else agrees. But I know so then it got very funny, and the storyline was, because it's always a new storyline, new villains each season.
Yeah.
And I thought the storyline, once it kind of picked up, because I wasn't really sure where it was going, it got really interesting, and I think it was actually a very beautiful finale.
I think literally, so again, there's gonna be spoilers for this, but
skip ahead.
Yeah.
We'll have timestamps in the description.
Yeah, which
you're mimicking me.
No, I was just talking.
Like shadowing my timestamps. And also we post timestamps on our Instagram story. Follow us at Poppin In Podcast.
Yes. There's like a thing where Miss Lori finds a letter from Amy Lee, and she gives it, that she had written like when she was getting divorced before Amy Lee passed, obviously, and she gives it to Eli, and he reads it. It's like the last scene of the episode. He's reading it in what she was writing, and like just seeing the scenes.
Beautiful.
It made me tear up.
So I didn't cry, but I felt like I could cry. I was like emotional.
Yeah, it was. I think like just seeing them all together, like, and the happiness.
Happy.
And it's the thing is, and I didn't get to do this, but whenever I finish a show where it's like, oh, it's been multiple seasons, I always go back and watch the pilot episode because I think it's so interesting, and I didn't get to do that this time. But it's interesting to see like how I feel like Gemstones is very similar to Succession, where it's easy to be like, none of these characters are redeemable.
Right.
But then they very much make them all like redeemable, and you really care about them. And I was also thinking about, I think like at least this season, but maybe the whole show, like the premise is really just managing grief.
Yes, like when the scene with Dr. Watson, the monkey, when Judy is talking to him and she's like talking about her mom and like how her mom's death like really affected her. Like that, I was like, and like it's kind of been hinted at before why Judy is the way that she is. Yeah. They're explained, but like I think that really explains all of them. Like they probably would be different people if they still had their mom.
Yeah, I think so too. Although some of it is like you see them as kids and you're just like, okay.
Oh yeah, that's true. They are still themselves.
I love there's like that line from Eli where he's talking to Jess and he's like, you've raised really great like children. You've obviously a better dad than I am.
He's like, you're talking about me then?
Yeah, he's like saying you didn't raise me well. Like, what do you mean? Which is just, I loved that like scene because I felt like it was just like. I also love the.
Sorry, I heard a noise.
No, you're good. I also love what is it? Something Thomas, who's the guy? He's the guy from American Pie. He plays Corey this season.
Oh, I don't know him.
Oh, he's apparently very famous from American Pie.
Oh, I've never.
He was like famous in the early 2000s. I definitely like recognized him, but I loved like he does this Michael Jackson dance, and he's wearing a Michael Jackson outfit, and the whole time he like tries to kill them, he's just wearing his little Michael Jackson
I did
outfit.
laugh at that. He's still wearing the jacket. That whole him doing the Michael Jackson bit. I don't know if it's because they kind of showed him before, but it felt so ominous to me. I was like, he's about to pull out a gun and shoot them while he's doing this dance. Like, I genuinely felt that way.
I love that he comes down the stairs in the Michael Jackson, he goes, hee! Yeah. Whatever he does.
Yeah, and then when he's, like, shooting them, which, again, spoiler, he's, like, red wine is playing.
Oh, yeah.
Red
would you like some more wine?
Speaking of red.
What a little transition.
Also, that song really triggers me because I used to work at Water Country, and that song would play on a loop. There was, like, a total of 6 songs on this playlist that they would play at Water Country.
I feel like Wipeout was also one of them. Wipeout!
I didn't work at the wave pool, but yes.
Oh, yeah. Yes. I love that song, but I could understand. That's why Get really Lucky triggers me. It's a great song.
That's a retail song.
Yeah, they played that in the movie theater every 5 minutes.
Really? There's music at the movie theater?
Just like in the, like, well, there used to be before Regal became a ghost town. Yeah, in the concessions area. But anyways,
shout out Regal.
Shout out Regal. Love you, sponsor us.
But we're looking for Marcus Theaters.
Yeah. Anyways, what were we saying? Oh, I also, you pointed this out, but I was thinking about it when it happened, that like in the end, it's their friend Corey, they end up shooting him in the head, which I don't know how he's still talking because they're like shot him
I didn't think he was that. I thought Jesse kind of grazed him. I was surprised he died.
He said, I think you just grazed me, and then like blood started squirting out of his head.
But didn't it look like he grazed him?
Yeah,
it didn't really look like he
got
him.
I thought he literally shot him like straight through the brain.
When he shot Kelvin, okay, first of all, they should have all probably been dead. He shot Kelvin through the stomach.
Okay, I'll be honest, he only shot Judy in the shoulder. When she was like, I'm not going up those stairs, I was like, you should go up those stairs.
Yeah, out of all 3 of you, I guess. Yeah. I didn't actually see him shoot Judy. I missed it. I saw her on the ground.
It was like the first shot he did. He literally
I missed
up and
that.
was like, pop!
I fully missed him actually shooting her. I just saw her on the floor. But
yeah, but the symmetry of like, I think the Bradley Cooper episode was just so perfect for this season because it shows him like, you know, praying with these people, like these Civil War soldiers who were dying, and then they pray with Corey while he's dying.
Yeah, because they ask, like, the soldiers, like, ask him to pray with him, and he's not a real pastor, obviously, in the, you've seen the first episode, so he's just kind of like, I don't know, like, whatever. And they ask him to pray with them while they're dying. But then that kind of like it all tied back in this episode because the three of them pray with him, and also then you find out about the Bible too. Like it all really like it really tied into the first episode. I really liked it. I thought it, because again, like I said, I think that's why I just like wasn't crazy about the season when it started. I just like wasn't sure where it was going. Yeah. And it wasn't outright evident what the plot was. Like they showed Lori and her family in the beginning, but like they didn't introduce her ex-husband until probably like 5 episodes in.
It was kind of strange. Like, or maybe like I wasn't sure where it was going either. Yeah. But I kind of like the way they tied together. I loved Kelvin and Keith's wedding.
I know.
I literally, for some reason, I called it Keith and Heath.
Well, I realized they probably had the most, like, because Judy and BJ, remember, they got married at Disney World.
Oh, yeah. I forget that.
It's the funniest conversation because they're like, they said, like, Prince Eric married them, and Jesse's like, y'all went all the way to Disney World to get married and you didn't even get the legacy characters to marry you.
I just love the dancing scene of them, like, on the dance floor at the wedding. You can see, like, BJ's doing the thing with his mustache.
Oh, the mustache, yeah.
And it's like, I bet those actors are having so much fun because they're really just dancing, but, like, dancing in character, just being silly.
Yeah.
I think this season really, I think, made me respect all of their characters more in an interesting way.
And also, I loved Gideon and Pontius, like their like relationship.
And now they have a gemstone skate park, which is interesting.
Well, it's like I think it's like a Christian, like he's like a pastor. It's like a youth Gideon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But now they like built a skate park outside of the church now.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I think is funny.
But it's like his own like little like not youth group, I guess. But
I will say though, I was like thinking about it, I was like, Lori's whole story is devastating.
It's devastating, but I was saying to you and Emily, because I was texting you guys as I was watching it, and I was like, her character was very weird. And I don't know if this was on purpose, but I felt like I did not trust her up until the end of the episode, and up until the end of the season, because like
they probably did that on purpose because they're kind of like building that mystery.
But even when when Corey started like pitching that, when he was like, you guys need to give me $7 million or whatever, I was like, oh, this is her scheme now. Like, I was so not trusting her the entire time.
And it's interesting. I didn't expect Corey to be like that because he like literally like, you know, turns his dad into the gator, but you know.
Right. It was a good twist, I guess. But at the same time, it was kind of like, wait, I felt like this came out of nowhere. Yeah.
Also, this is so random. And I know it's fiction, but I'm like, how would it be that like all of her ex-boyfriends have disappeared or been murdered and she's just like, that's crazy. Yeah. I had no idea.
And also from the moment they introduced that he had an alligator park, I was like, oh, this is where that's going.
Also, why would you want to buy that alligator park where your dad was eaten by the alligator?
Yeah, why not just say, I want $7 million?
Yeah. Which, I'll be honest, it is kind of crazy because he says that and then they're playing cornhole and like Kelvin has like a Hershey kiss on him or whatever. Yeah. And he's like, oh, I have to go change this shirt because it's $5,000.
Yeah.
And it's like, why would you say that?
Why would you say that right now?
Yeah.
I thought he was going to freak out over that.
Yeah. Also, but then he goes upstairs and he sees Amy Lee's ghost. I was like, this is kind of
So spooky. I thought it was scary, but I thought that was Keith again. I thought for a second, I was like, no way.
So great. Also, when he goes into Corey's bag and he pulls out the gun and the Bible, he just puts the gun back. I'm like, you fool. But maybe it's just like
the gun to me was like the most concerning, but I guess their Bible was probably also concerning.
Both. Just take both. Like, why are you just being like, this person who's
but you're
obviously
right, maybe they just all have guns.
Seems a little off their rocker. Yeah. Let me just put this gun back.
Yeah. That was and also for him, I guess he did end up knowing that's what he did, but I was like, he so obviously pulled something from your bag. Mm-hmm. So I'm curious, like, what because I was thinking about it, and I don't know if you've watched like any of Danny McBride's previous shows, but I watched I watched Vice Principals. I don't know if I necessarily recommend Vice Principals. I felt like when I watched it, I was the only one who watched it, and now I talk about it with people a lot. Like, a lot of people have watched it. It's definitely not anywhere near as good as Righteous Gemstones. And I was thinking of it, and I was just like, I'm so excited to see what he does next, because he seems to really pump out shows. Like, once he's done, he, like, has, like, a new show. Because he had Eastbound and Down, which I never watched. And
I watched the first episode of it and it seemed funny.
Is it good? We should
watch it after this.
So Matthew's been wanting to watch it with me. And so I've been, like, thinking of, like, giving it a try. But Vice Principals, I watched the whole thing, and it was just so, like... it's a very unsettling show, and I can't really explain why, but the characters are not at all likable, like, at all. Like, Danny McBride's character is super unlikable. Walton Goggins' character is, like, he's very funny, but, like, very unlikable. And so Righteous Gemstones is kind of the first one where it's just, like, I just, like, love the characters. And so I'm curious, like, what he'll do next and if it can even, like, top Righteous Gemstones.
I don't know, but that's what I always talk about, like, the twisties for, like, writers or whatever. I guess writer's block. But, of just, like, the constant pressure probably to top your own work. Like, that honestly sounds horrific to me.
Mm-hmm. By the way, we can watch Eastbound and Down. Like, I wasn't shutting you down. I was just saying, you know how long it takes Matthew to watch shows.
True. He's like Chris, yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, what is it Chris said? He was like, oh, I went to go look back at Hulu to see when we had watched Handmaid's Tale. It had all of his from the past 5 years. It wouldn't show him any more of mine past, like, last year. He was like, that's how much you're watching.
He said it was last March.
And I was just like, you know what? I'm caught up on the culture. I am the moment.
You really are. Like, there is not really a show I can talk about that you haven't watched.
Vice Principals.
That's true. I don't think you'll like it. Because I barely like it. I watched the whole thing, but I barely liked it.
I actually can't think of a show that I haven't seen.
It's one of those shows, though. Like, it's how crazy Righteous Gemstones is. It's, like, 10 times crazier. Because it's, like, out of nowhere.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, it feels like it comes out of nowhere.
Interesting. But I just, like, the ending of this, I was like, I want to, like, be a part of their family.
Oh.
Like, it was, but also not. But also, like, it was just, like, very heartwarming. I think it ended exactly how it should.
Yeah.
Eli goes back on his boat. Miss Laurie joins him.
I know. I like that it ended with Eli.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I forget that he is sort of like the central character.
I feel like his character was kind of different than it usually is, though. Like, he was a bit sillier this season.
Was sillier, and I don't know if that was because of the relationship, but I just felt overall like some of the things, that's like what kind of was weird in the beginning of the season was just like something just like felt off about it. And part of it was like his character seemed so different.
Yeah.
Also, I didn't feel like Baby Billy had like a great ending.
Oh yeah, I kind of like it though, where he like realizes like I should care about my children and family.
But they didn't even show him with Tiffany. Like I felt like it was his was like very rushed. I almost wonder if they cut stuff out or something because it was just like it just felt really rushed, which is like fine because he is sort of like, you know, not a side character but just like a
Uncle Baby Billy.
Yeah. But he's
a B plot.
Yeah,
usually.
Kind of, yeah. And I felt like they kind of rushed over his storyline a little bit, but...
I do love Teengus.
Yeah. Have you seen the rap? Like, well, he did the rap, but have you seen him recording the rap?
No.
It is so funny. He was just, like, on Colbert, I think, the other night, and they showed, like, a behind-the-scenes video. I'll send it to you after this, but he was doing there's, like, a behind-the-scenes video of him recording the rap, and he's just you can't hear the music, because he can only hear it, I guess, in his headphones, and so he's literally like this, like, just by himself in dead silence.
That's
and then he's
funny.
Like, and then he starts doing the rap.
I love that for him.
It's so funny.
I wonder I was thinking about him and Amy Lou Wood today. I wonder how they're doing.
I have an update on that. I don't know if I necessarily want to talk about it on this, though. It's, like, a little intense.
Okay.
There is, like, an update on it, though. Actually, one update I will give, it's about Palestine.
Oh.
But one update I'll give is that Walton Goggins was doing an interview with London Times the other day, and they randomly asked him about it, and he walked down in the interview, and he was like, I'm not talking about that. And he was like, are you kidding? Like, I'm not, that's, like, bullshit. I'm not talking about that. But the thing I was going to say was, like, I guess, like, Amy Lou Wood is very, like, she supports Palestine on her Instagram, and she's always been like very like speaks out about it a lot, and I guess she was getting like death threats or something, and so I can't fully understand, but apparently it has something to do with that, maybe, of like why they unfollowed each other.
Oh, interesting.
But I need like more information on it, but I just saw it today.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we'll stay tuned.
That's that's
interesting.
I'll gather more information.
Yeah, let us know. But yeah, I think, like, overall, I loved it.
I really liked it. It made me really want to I'm eventually going to rewatch it again, but...
Yeah. But speaking of another show that just wrapped up, is You. The show, not You. So, if you don't know, this is You on Netflix. It stars Penn Badgley as a serial killer who is, like... He's very literary. He's very tortured. It's been like a huge thing for like the past. I think it came out in like 2019. I still lived at home when it first came out. And so this was the last and final season, and I honestly have to say thank God. I thought the last season was the last season.
I said, yeah, I don't watch it, but it
I'm
seems like it's
surprised you don't.
I watched the first episode. I actually remember watching it with my friend at a sleepover, and it was just like, it was all I can remember was her like masturbating in front of the window. Like very,
I literally thought you met your friend
very
for a second.
openly.
I was like, what?
No, like very memorably in the first episode.
I'm sorry, I just... Yes, and then there are definitely parts of this show, like even in the first few seasons where you're just like, this is really unrealistic and like, what? Who would ever act like this?
Yeah.
But I think that's like part of the...
And that's
like,
fine.
Not fantasy, but like the world of it.
I'm sure the first season was good. I cannot believe it went on for 4 seasons. At one point I saw the like, because he gets like a girlfriend. There's like a girl who's like his counterpart at one.
Yeah, Love.
Eventually. Okay.
Her name's Love. Played by Victoria Pedretti, who I love.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
But he, like, at one point it shows them having a baby together. I was just like, what?
Yeah, it's actually,
this?
It sounds crazy, but I think, like, the first few seasons did it really well. So, the first season takes place in New York, and that's, like, the first person you meet that, it's not the first person he's ever killed, but the first person, like, we, like, see him, like, he really romanticizes, like, this girl, he stalks her, he, like, becomes a part of her life, and eventually, like, he convinces himself that he's in love with her, and he has, this whole thing is him having, like, this white knight complex, and I think it's interesting because after season 1, there was, like, a lot of this discord where people were like, why does everyone, like, even Penn Badgley was like, women love Joe and they shouldn't, like, he is literally a murderer.
Yeah.
But I think it has a lot to do with these ideas of, like, toxic masculinity, and also, like, realizing that it's hard sometimes when you are in a manipulative, like, toxic relationship to see those red flags. But also it's kind of like a Ted Bundy type thing where it's like, oh, this is like a handsome white dude who, like, maybe is a little bit dangerous, but, like, I don't think in real life you would be like, yes, I want to date him. But fictionally, maybe you're kind of like, okay, that turns me on.
I get that. You know me. Like, I am always about that. But I think for some reason...
like, I actually write to men in prison.
This show felt... No. I just mean, like, on shows and stuff.
Yeah.
But to me, this show felt like a CW show a little bit. Like,
I think it was on the CW originally.
I thought it was a Netflix show.
And it got canceled, and then Netflix picked it up, and then it got, like, really popular on Netflix, I believe.
Yeah, but I was just gonna say, like, Penn Badgley, like, I didn't feel that way about him, or I didn't feel that way about this character, because I think I just don't care about Penn Badgley. Like, I don't think he's that good of an actor.
I think he's actually a really good actor. I like him as a person. You'll find this interesting. Did you know he's married to Jemima Kirk's sister?
Lola Kirk.
No, I think she's another sister, actually.
I was gonna say, we just talked about her last week.
Because she's a midwife. But she's, or a doula or something, or yeah.
All right.
But anyways, I didn't know that. I thought that was interesting. But I actually think he is a good actor. But it does remind me of people made the joke is he's very similar to Lonely Boy and Gossip Girl, which is who, like, Dan Humphries in Gossip Girl, and except, like, Dan Humphries wasn't a murderer. And I could see that too. I think people, like, the idea of it, and he, like, they talk about this a lot, is like, Joe is a very intoxicating character because he is a man that, like, listens to you and he sees you and he pays attention.
Kills you.
Right. But it's like you are the center of his universe. Like, it's a very intoxicating, like, easy to fall in love with him.
Yeah.
I think because it's like, oh, you are everything to me. Like, he is, like, the epitome, like, of romance. Like, he wants to be your white knight. He wants to, like, you are everything to him because he literally has nothing else. Like, he doesn't have a family. He doesn't have friends. He is kind of just this guy that moves in silence and kills people, yes. But if you don't know that, then you don't know that.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so season 1 is in New York. Season 2 is in LA. Season 3 is in London. Season 4, I've missed a season.
Season 3 is when he has the kids, maybe?
Yeah, season 3 is when he has the baby. Yes, season 2 and 3 are in LA. Season 4 is in London, and season 5 is in New York again.
There's 5? I thought there were 4 seasons.
No, this is the 5th season.
What?
And I think, like,
that is too long for what that show is about. I'm sorry.
It is. And I will say this season got really formulaic. Like, it got kind of formulaic in general, where it's like every season it's like, oh, he's finally got the girl, but now he's, like, interested in someone new, and someone new catches his eye, and now he has to, like, kill to, like, save them or protect them or whatever. But this season, like, I think last season, when it was in London, they actually had, like, a really good twist to it that I thought was well done, and also was, like, in London, and they were, like, it was... I liked that. But this season, I just honestly, like, until, like, the second half of the season, I really was just, like, kind of slogging through the episodes. Like, there's this one actress, she actually is from Pitch Perfect, she's the one who vomits.
The blonde girl?
Yes. I wrote down her name. Anna Camp. She plays in Michael B. Jordan fashion 2 twins. Okay. And he's trying to murder one of them, but he accidentally captures the wrong twin.
No.
So then he convinces the twin to murder her other twin, and she has to, like, what do you call it? Like, pretend to be her other twin. Like, both of them. And I actually think that actress, like, there's a scene where it's like she's in the bathroom and her sister is, like, not her twin, just a different sister, is, like, knocking on the door, and she's playing both characters, and it's actually kind of crazy how well she is playing these 2 twins as one person. It's really insane. But, like, I didn't really care about that plot. I was like, I don't really care about these people. But there's this whole other character. So, Madeline Brewer, who actually, she's from The Handmaid's Tale.
Yeah, I know who she is.
Yeah, and I had not seen her in The Handmaid's Tale. She's missing an eye the whole time. So when she came on screen with 2 eyes, it was, like, kind of a shock to me.
She was on Orange is the New Black, so yeah. I knew what she looked like from that.
Yeah. I just, like, and I guess, like, I've seen her with 2 eyes before.
Yeah.
I just, like, I always forget that she has 2 of them.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't actually pull out her eye for the show. But anyways, so she plays this character of Bronte, is her name, and it's literally, like, the most literary fucking name. Like, he's even like, really, that's your name? And each season Joe has, like, this character that he kind of, like, sympathizes with, where it's like, oh, this is, like, an orphan, like, poor person or whatever. And she kind of encompasses both. But what he doesn't know is that she's part of a team of internet sleuths who, like, think that he has killed multiple people, including, going back to season 1, Guinevere Beck, who you find out is, like, they are connected to each other, and that's why she's, like, trying to trap him. But then she does the thing that all these women do, and she falls in love with him. And so then she can't, like, fully go through with, like, trapping him. But then all of the other women who have escaped him kind of, like, they're trying to trap him and get him, like, to confess, etc. And they kind of talk to her, and they're like, he is dangerous. Like, it's easy to fall for him. Don't. Like, if you're alive, that's the best you can do. Like, you need to get out of this situation. And I think it kind of wakes her up. And so I think there was a lot of discussion of, like, what would feel like a good end for Joe, this guy who, like, is this, like, white knight pretender. Like, he, you know, thinks he's such a hypocrite in that, like, I protect women, whatever. There's even this whole thing where it's like an incel guy is, like, going after Bronte, and he captures him, locks him up in his cage, and then is like, how dare he, like, he's disgusting towards women. Meanwhile, it's like, you literally stalk and murder women every season. So it's like this hypocrisy where it's like, what would feel like a justifiable end? And I was curious what they were going to end it with, because if he died, also spoilers, obviously, if he died, it would have felt like not that great, you know. It would have been like he just got away with everything or whatever. But this woman who he thinks loves him ends up, like, tricking him in the woods, and she almost dies. But, like, at the end, like, the police are, like, circling, they're coming in, and he's basically begging her. He's like, kill me, I want you to kill me. And she's like, no, because you're gonna have to, like, face yourself, you're gonna have to face what you've done. And I think it's actually, there's been, like, some, not controversy, but discussion about whether or not it was a good enough ending. I think it was the perfect ending, to where he gets put into prison for all of these crimes that he's done, and they show him in prison, and he's just completely and entirely alone, which is, like, his greatest fear, which is why, and I think Penn Badgley does a really phenomenal job playing this character, because in other seasons, like, I think he's pretty, like, tame in terms of, like, you know, he is a killer, but he's, like, not that crazy. But in this season, I think he really shows out as, like, being a predator.
Yeah.
And I just think he does a really good job with that, and I think it kind of turns the tide in terms of, like, people are not maybe pro Joe. And I think it's interesting because you're in Joe's head most of the time. That's why you get a lot of sympathy for him. But I mean, he's, like, literally a murderer. So I think the ending overall was great. I think the lead up to it, this whole last season, was kind of meh.
Yeah, I could see that.
But I mean, I loved it. I read the books. I loved, like, I think the concept is really...
I didn't know it was based on books.
Yeah, there's only 2 books. So, and I think, like, it's based on the first one pretty, like, well, but then the second one, I think it diverges a lot. But I'm pretty pleased with it. And I think, like, you know, I've talked to, like, some other women about it recently where they were like, you know, I've been in abusive relationships or whatever, and, like, the show meant a lot to them to, like, see kind of him get his due. He literally actually gets his dick shot off in the end, and that's so perfect. Yeah. So that's You, and I'm glad it's over. I loved it. I loved the ride. I loved the show, but it needed to end. It needed to end. And I think Penn Badgley wanted it to end too. I actually, you know what's been stuck in my head is, what is the show where they go on and like the actors or like the guests, like they do a dance before they come on? It's like some talk show.
I have no idea.
But there was a clip of him, and you know that Anxiety song by Doechii?
Yeah, I hate it.
But they did it where it was like, Penn Badgley, somebody's watching.
Through the aisle.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's, is it Jennifer Hudson's show?
I think so.
I've never seen a clip from that show except for them just going through the
Yeah, I haven't either. But
tunnel.
It's like, it is actually so perfect because his name fits into that, and it's like somebody's watching me. Like, it's, and the thing is, it's stuck in my head, and I'm like, I am literally, what is stuck in my head is a remix of a remix.
Yeah.
Which is so funny.
God, I hate that song so much.
Really? Why? I love
I
it.
think it's
that
so
song.
annoying.
Why?
I think it's also the videos have made it annoying too, like the dance.
The dance is annoying.
Yeah, I just, for some reason, that song just like really irks me.
The first time I heard it, I was like, this is what I've needed because I have crippling anxiety.
The song gives me anxiety. Like, I just don't like it.
Interesting.
Yeah, I hate it.
I love that song. But that's really, I like Penn Badgley he is an interesting person. I also think what's interesting is he apparently, when he started You, he said he wouldn't do any sex scenes because of him and Jemima Kirk's sister's relationship. I forget her name. Like, out of respect to their like marriage. But then this season he did do sex scenes, so I'm curious. I don't know what changed.
Maybe they divorced.
No, they're having, I think they just had twins or something.
Oh,
I don't know, but I just thought that was interesting.
That's interesting.
Yeah, but so our question of the week this week was what was it? Oh, what was the best series finale?
I actually finally put it down so you wouldn't ask that, because you always ask.
I was
like, if I write it, she won't ask it this time.
I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, so this week, if you ever want to answer our question of the week, we do one every week. It's on our Instagram at Poppin In Podcast. Follow us, like us, subscribe, reply to us.
Yeah.
Answer
Comment.
us.
Talk to us.
But so what is your favorite like series finale?
Okay, so I feel like there's ones I'm not thinking about, but my favorite is probably Mad Men. You've never seen it?
No, I have.
You saw the finale?
Yes.
When? You were like, just a few days ago you were saying you hadn't seen it.
No, I was saying how when I was watching it, Chris ruined it because I was like, oh, you should watch Mad Men with me. You'll really like it. And then he was like, I already know that he does blah, blah, blah. And I was like, well, I didn't. I have 2 seasons
I'm so glad
left.
I answered first, because no offense, but like I watched that show for so long, so I'd have been so pissed if you had taken that from me.
Well, I've been watching it for at least like the past 6 years.
Didn't you just finish it like recently?
Yeah, I mean, I just finished the last 2 seasons recently.
I know, but I'm saying like I literally watched the finale when it came on.
I say recently. It was 3 years ago.
Oh, that is not how y'all tell that story. I pictured you guys like doing that like a year, like this year.
The thing about me and Chris is we relive every moment of our lives.
I swear you were just
lives.
Recently rewatching Mad Men though, like literally.
Sometimes
like
I'll put on episodes. Well, actually, I don't anymore because it's not on.
I was gonna say we should watch an episode tonight.
It might be on a different streaming service, but because it was on Netflix and then they took it off, and it was on Prime, and then they took it off, and now I don't know what it's on.
I think it's on AMC, but like who has AMC Plus?
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, no, that one is.
But if we find it, can we watch an episode tonight?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I love Mad Men. I have literally a Mad Men pop right here.
So do I. Well, not with me, but
yeah. That's actually the reason I changed my job.
Oh, to have her?
No, I literally was trying to decide like if I should take the job of being a copywriter, and I had ordered this Funko Pop, and the day I got the offer, she arrived. And she's a Funko. She is a Funko Pop. She's a copywriter, and I was like, this has to be a sign, and I changed my job.
Well, it's crazy because Mad Men like really, oh my gosh, are like in our jobs, like it's weird to see like the roles, like accounts and
he's
creative.
like, accounts in my office, and you're like, oh, I know what that means.
Yeah. But Mad Men, okay, I remember watching that finale and just literally crying at the end because it was just so beautifully written. Just the little ding of him, like, because he's like doing the what do you call that?
Oh yeah, the meditation,
and him, the ding of the thing, but him having the thought was just so clever. And then like it turns out to be like the Coke commercial.
Yeah,
like to buy the world a Coke.
It's so...
And I was like literally crying, and it's like him, like it's like implies that he like
because earlier in the episode he like goes to call
or he got Coke.
What's her face, his ex-wife, but she's like dying.
Betty, yeah, I forgot about that.
And they're like, she doesn't want to talk to you.
Oh God, I forgot about that. I totally forgot she goes through all that.
Yeah.
And then Peggy and what's his face end up together, and that was like a beautiful scene.
Yeah, it really was.
When he runs to her office.
That actually made me like really joyful.
And just like
Campbell and Trudy going on the plane.
Yeah, and they're holding the girl, and like, and it's all happening while the guy's like doing the voice like for the meditation thing, and then like he hears the ding, and then the Coke commercial. It was just like such a good ending. Like it was such amazing writing. Like to me it was like the best. Like even more than like, and I like love Breaking Bad, obviously Succession, but like I don't think of those finales as being like, I mean I love the Succession finale, but I don't think of those as being like my top.
See, and I was gonna say the Succession finale. I think that, but also
it was great. But
in a different way, when I talk about a finale that pissed me off, I think about this actually regularly. Is the Gilmore Girls finale, where like in the original run, so like Amy Sherman Palladino didn't do. I think it's like the last 2 seasons for like there was creative differences, and so the show didn't end how she wanted it to. And she always said she was like, I always want to end the show with like the last 3 words. And so then when she did like A Year in the Life, which was like, I don't know, 15 years later or whatever, she did end up ending it with the last 3 words. You want to know what they were? Mom, I'm pregnant.
Oh, I knew that actually.
Which, if she had been 21, that would have been wild. But the fact that she's 30, 31 years old when she says it, it's not that, it's like, okay.
Yeah.
Like, it's not that crazy. And it's also just like, oh, so you're going to just leave us on that?
Didn't they know that they were, because they came back with a reboot, right?
Yeah, that's the reboot. That's how they ended the reboot.
Oh, I thought that's how they ended the show.
No, that's how she wanted to. They ended the show. It's like her sitting at Luke's diner, and she's about to go be a political journalist on Obama's presidential campaign.
What?
Yeah, because that's what year it was. It's so funny.
God, I respect why people love that show, but I've never liked that show.
It was just... Oh, also, but speaking of her shows, Marvelous Mrs. Maisel had a really good ending, too.
Really?
Yeah.
My best friend in high school and I, like, we bonded over The Office. Like, we became friends because we loved The Office. So we watched the finale together at my house, and we bawled. And the funny thing is, like, when I look back, I can never, like, watch that. The last season was awful. But, like, when I think about the finale now, I'm just like, it wasn't actually good. It wasn't, like, really well written or anything. I just think we were just very emotional about it.
Schitt's Creek?
So we did get that as an answer.
Okay.
It's funny because I don't think about the Schitt's Creek finale that much.
I actually rewatched the Schitt's Creek finale and the episode where they do Cabaret like 3 times.
I've been wanting to rewatch the Cabaret one just because I just saw Cabaret.
Yeah.
But I think...
It made me cry.
The finale, I just... You know what's crazy? I really was not that crazy about the last, like, couple seasons of Schitt's Creek.
Yeah, it was okay.
It just, like,
I loved
the first few.
I think I just loved the last episode. Because, like, that's when David and Patrick get married, and it's just, like, a really beautiful...
I know. I don't know if I've ever talked about it on the show. I actually don't like Patrick.
Really?
Yeah, I've never liked his character.
He's fun. Like, he doesn't stand out. I think...
Well, but people, like, love their relationship. And I actually think Patrick is often really, like, condescending to him. Like, I just have never liked Patrick. So I never thought that their relationship... Like, I love David. He's, like, probably my favorite character of the show.
Yeah.
But I never liked the two of them together. It's an I know people love them, so it's a very unpopular opinion.
Actually, and maybe this is just because I love this show overall, the Good Place series finale, that really, really made me cry. Have you seen The Good Place?
Watched it. Mm-mm.
I really love that. Like, I'm gonna cry.
Oh my God, you sound choked up.
I really love that show because it's all like, it's funny and stuff, but it's also like about like the meaning of life. and like the meaning of the afterlife and what it is to be a good person. And I'm not going to spoil it for you in case you ever, I don't know, decide to watch it. But the last episode, like, it really gets me.
Really?
I'm going to cry right now.
Oh my gosh, don't cry.
It's embarrassing.
As far as like shit finales, Lost.
Shit. No, oh yeah. Okay, someone was talking about Lost being one of the greatest finales of all time.
What?
I didn't know
like
how it ended.
notoriously the worst.
I've been trying to rewatch it for the past 20 years.
I did cry. I watched with my parents, and I remember because we had watched like the whole show together. We like that was the first show I ever truly like binged.
Should we watch the last episode of Lost later?
Not the last. I don't like it.
Okay.
Oh, unless you want to. Have you seen it?
I always
never finished it.
I keep trying to rewatch it. I can never get past like season 4. I'm just like,
oh my gosh. Well, instead of watching the finale, just watch the next episode. I'll watch that with you. But do not watch the finale.
I don't know what because it moved from streaming service to streaming service. So I don't even remember what episode.
It's definitely on Netflix now.
Yeah, but I was watching it on Prime.
I'm down to watch Lost. I just am not watching the finale. It was really a shit finale. It made no sense. It was so stupid. But when I watched it, like, when we finished it, I literally had to run up to my room. I was like, I'll be right back. And I, like, went and sobbed. Because the last scene, I won't spoil it for you, but the last scene is just, like, really emotional. Aww. But that's it. Like, the actual episode is not good.
Yeah.
But we did get a couple answers. So, Megan, shocker, said Schitt's Creek.
Okay.
And we only got, like, 2 answers. But Matthew said the last episode of Band of Brothers. Which he loves Band of Brothers.
I haven't seen it yet.
He's tried to show it to me. It just doesn't hit for me.
Yeah.
But
that's surprising.
Yeah, I don't know why. I don't know. But
I feel like you actually sometimes aren't into war stuff. Like war stuff I think has to be really specific.
Yes, that is true. Because then I did watch the Masters of the Air, whatever it's called. And I was telling Matthew, because that was like it was like a sequel, I guess, to Band of Brothers.
Yeah.
Or one of them. And it was listen to this cast. It's like Austin Butler, Callum Turner, Barry Keoghan, and I still haven't finished it. It was just so boring.
I could see that, yeah.
And I wanted to love it. And I think it was good. It just was very boring. But anyway, yeah, he loves Band of Brothers. So that's his answer.
Okay.
We didn't get too many on that one, but we
got
got exactly 2.
Yeah.
But yeah, because please tell us. I know y'all have some favorite show finales.
And some of y'all text us after the episode when you're
none
listening.
None of that.
We want it before.
Yeah.
We
give you ample time.
Put us on your favorited friends list.
Yeah. Don't even save those texts.
Yeah.
Unless you're not on Instagram, then I guess I understand that one.
Yeah, exactly.
But
yeah.
So another big red carpet event, I guess, coming up is the Tony Awards. Woo! Which come on in June. But
speaking of cabaret.
Yeah. But no, because that's not nominated.
Well, still, I don't know anything about musicals, or I don't know what goes on Broadway, what happens on Broadway stays on Broadway to me.
It doesn't actually, because there's traveling shows, there's national tours. But luckily, your favorite Broadway correspondent is sitting right in front of you.
Wow!
And her name is Molly.
Yay! Okay, I'm excited about this because someone was mentioning, friend of the pod was mentioning, he was like, you guys should come up when we move to New York. He was saying to me, he was like, Chris can go to a Panthers game and we'll take you to Broadway. And I was like, oh, okay.
And I'm pretty sure I invited myself to like stay at his apartment.
You were standing in the corner. You're like,
I was not in the corner.
It was well, we were all in the corner, but you're like standing in the corner of that conversation. I could see you like jonesing to
really. I don't remember it.
And
I
was like, well, actually, like speaking of Broadway, I was like, Molly loves. I was like, I actually have no thoughts.
Yeah, because you're not, like, I don't know if we just assumed because you're, like, a girl.
Probably.
But, yeah, you don't really, like, care about Broadway. I think you've seen Phantom of the Opera.
Like, if I'm in New York, I'll go see a Broadway show, but I'm not, like,
Right. Whereas, like, Broadway musicals are my life.
Yeah. I've been meaning to text you about Operation Mincemeat for probably months.
I know. I kept seeing ads for it. I was just in New York last month, and I kept seeing, like, ads for it. And there's a movie called Operation Mincemeat, so that's what I'm confused about, because that's not a comedy, but this is, like, a comedy musical.
Yeah, and I'd been getting so many ads for it, and maybe it's because I watch so much British stuff.
Yeah.
But I literally was like, at first I thought it was a joke. Like, I thought it wasn't a real play, just because of the name, and I meant to text you about it, and once again, forgot.
Yeah.
For 6 months, I've been meaning to ask.
But the nominations just came out for the Tony Awards, and so I'm kind of wanting to talk about the snubs. I'll talk about the nominations as well. Like, I'll touch on them. I'm not gonna like read them out, but there were some crazy snubs this year. Like, my mom and I were literally texting each other like,
snub it out.
It was like wild, the snubs. So this one was personal to me because I just saw Glengarry Glen Ross.
Okay.
And that got snubbed.
Can I ask you, what is Glengarry Glen Ross about? I've been meaning to.
They're salesmen.
Okay.
And it's a David Mamet play. Like it was very good. I thought it was amazing. I thought the acting was really good.
Okay.
It's a very short play. Like it wasn't like the greatest thing I've ever seen, but it was like what made it like great was just like obviously the actors in it. Yeah. Like that was a really memorable experience for me. But Bob Odenkirk got nominated, but that was it. And then Kieran Culkin like didn't get nominated. That was the big snub
for the first time this year, honestly.
No, seriously, because they were talking about up until those nominations came out, they were talking about him potentially getting an EGOT.
Yeah, in 1 year too.
Which he wouldn't get an EGOT because he doesn't have a Grammy. How would that happen then?
He's working on it.
I think like people think EGOT is like Golden Globe. And it's Grammy.
Maybe.
But anyway, either way, like if he had won the Emmy, he would have in the same year essentially won an Oscar, Tony, and then like the year before won an Emmy. Like that's crazy. That's like seriously impressive. But he didn't even get nominated.
That is crazy.
That's crazy because he was really good in it. And Bob Odenkirk was like, he was good too. He was very good. But I just actually felt like Kieran Culkin was like a little bit more memorable to me. But anyway, I said that's personal to me because I feel like I have like a I feel like I have a fight in the game, a leg in the fight, whatever.
A dog in the fight.
Also,
that's the saying.
Also, yes. Also notably snubbed was Othello, which stars Denzel Washington and Jake Gyllenhaal. They didn't get nominated, which is pretty crazy. Also, I have a funny story about that.
Okay.
Ooh,
that would be good for our Met Gala.
Our Met Gala.
Yeah. Poppin In Met Gala.
So our hotel was right across the street from the Othello Theater. Like our room was facing the front of the theater.
Oh, wow.
Like where the stage door is. So naturally, it was like before one of our shows, we were like getting ready, but like obviously that would be before an Othello show as well. Mm-hmm. So I was just parked at the window, just looking down. I can
actually picture you doing this, like you waiting, with your little blankie,
just waiting for Jake.
Yeah, you're just like in your little sweatshirt.
Yes,
just being like
exactly
nose up against the window.
And my mom was just like, "Are you still watching?" Like, God forbid a girl have a hobby, you know. But Jake Gyllenhaal, I think I did see him, but I think I saw him too late. Didn't get to get a picture of him. Because I saw, like, a man who was bald, which he is bald in that show, like, walk in to the door, and these two people who were on the street, like, were talking to him. So it made me feel like that was Jake Gyllenhaal, and he went through the door. So then I was like, okay, now I guess I just gotta wait for Denzel. I'm pretty sure this
What a
is
statement.
him. I'm pretty sure this is him. I can't fully...
Like, what about it makes you think it's him?
Well...
Is it because this person is black?
I don't know how many other black people are in the show. And he's kind of an old-looking man. Denzel is older.
Is he old-looking? It's the back of his head.
You didn't see the front of him. I saw the front of him. You didn't see him. Give me my phone back. You don't deserve to see that photo. Give me my phone back.
If it is, it's actually...
Phone back.
There's a picture of him really close by for reference. Look.
Hello. If you saw the front of him, you would also think it's Denzel.
I just love you're like, I think this is Denzel Washington. And okay, I believe you.
And then we went to we went to like a bar after the show, and we were sitting in the bar, and like we didn't have seats next to the window, but like we were like at a table that was like next to the window, and they came out at the stage door, and like so everybody at the window got to see them, but I couldn't see them. But I was like,
you elbow people out.
But we were kind of like, everybody like in the bar was like looking.
You would be in the bar and you'd yell, you'd be like, fire!
Everybody out of the way. Everybody's at the windows, better get out of the way. Like everyone in the bar was like standing up and looking. But
that's crazy. I feel like they don't do that in New York a lot. I feel
really?
Like people in New York are like, oh yeah, we are used to seeing.
No, one time I was at Junior's with my mom. This was like a couple trips ago. And we were about to see a show, so we were at Junior's. And we were across the street from a theater that we were like looking it up, like literally as I was Googling it. This is a long-winded story. I'm trying to get through it quickly. But we were Googling like what the show was. And I was like looking at the cast. It was like Daveed Diggs. It was like a bunch of people from Hamilton.
Yeah.
So it was like a Lin-Manuel Miranda show. And all of a sudden I like looked, and as I was saying like, oh my God, Lin-Manuel Miranda is in this. My mom goes, is that Lin-Manuel Miranda, and like he had like come out of the stage door, and I'm not joking, everyone in the restaurant like stood up, and I got actually a very good photo of him. This is the photo that I took out the window. Of him just hanging.
That is a good photo.
Of him just hanging from a thing.
Why is he hanging from that thing?
He like jumped out. He like came, and this was still like COVID was sort of at its peak, like, or it was 2021. So it was like people in New York were still like there was like nobody in New York.
Yeah.
But so he came out, so he wasn't like really meeting people. He just literally jumped out and like was hanging on this railing, just saying hi to everybody. Because he's like, I don't know, he's just like kind of crazy like that. But
he's kind of crazy like that.
Anyway, where was I really going with this whole thing?
We were talking about the Tonys.
I know, but
you talked about the snubs.
I took the photos, but I took the photos of them. So anyway,
okay.
God forbid a girl have a hobby, okay?
Yeah.
So they got snubbed. Romeo and Juliet was like a show on Broadway recently. It had Kit Connor and Rachel Ziegler in it.
Okay.
And it was kind of like I don't know. It was like an interesting take. They all got snubbed apparently. None for Idina Menzel, who was in a show called Redwood, and I'm not kidding. It looks like the most insufferable show I've ever seen.
Really?
She's literally climbing they have a huge redwood tree on the stage. It's about a woman who
real
like
one?
yeah, well, no, but like it's about a woman who like goes through something in her life, and so she goes on this trip. Like again, this just sounds like so boring to me.
Yeah.
But she goes on this trip to like find herself or whatever, and she becomes like obsessed with these redwood trees, and the tree talks, I think, to her. Anyway, that got snubbed.
Wow. Grandmother Willow.
But it's Idina Menzel, so that is kind of surprising.
Grandmother Redwood.
Yeah, and then Robert Downey Jr., he was in a Broadway play called McNeil. He didn't get nominated. Broadway legends like Bernadette Peters she's in a musical called Old Friends. No nomination. Where's her nomination? No. So there was just like a lot of weird snubs. Like, you know what I mean? Where it was like people who like you would really think they would get nominated. Yeah. But some like notable nominations, the play Oh Mary, which we were talking about earlier, which is it's Cole Escola's show. I think
which I'm sure is very good. But that time that they did the whole Jeopardy category,
I know, I was thinking of that.
Chris and I literally were watching it. We were like, something about like I know it's been like 200 years or whatever since Lincoln was shot, but I was like something about it made it feel like too soon.
Well, the play is a comedy. It's apparently very funny, but it's about Mary. He plays Mary Todd Lincoln.
Yeah,
and they've had like people replacing them like Titus Burgess just played Mary Todd Lincoln. Like
you're looking at me.
I couldn't remember how to pronounce or how to say his last name. I think it's Titus Burgess. Anyway, but Oh Mary got a bunch of nominations. Sarah Snook, Pictures of Dorian Gray,
which also we forgot to mention for the Met Gala. Loved her outfit.
She looked amazing. Yeah. It was like a very Dorian Gray outfit. Though. Yeah. But anyway, she got nominated. But I was kind of like
Dorian Gray.
A part of me was gonna be like really sad for this. Is like how I think. Like I care about people who I'm like, why? Like, I'm like thinking about Jeremy Strong's feelings with the Tony Awards because I'm like, imagine like Kieran Culkin.
Was he in a play?
He was like last year, but but I'm just thinking like, okay, like Kieran Culkin beat him at the Oscars, also beat him at the Emmys. Then he like, imagine watching both Sarah Snook and Kieran Culkin get nominated for Emmys or Tonys, and he's not nominated. Yeah. So I was like kind of sad for him, but then like, it's all good, you know? Yeah. There's nothing to be sad about Jeremy. Yeah. You're fine.
He's fine.
Also, so another one I want to say is there's a show called John Proctor is the Villain, which I think I believe is a comedy, but I could be wrong. It's a play. It has Sadie Sink from Stranger Things in it. But so that got like a bunch of nominations.
Which I saw a bunch of.
Oh, and then there's a Stranger Things play, and that also got a bunch of nominations. Yeah. I don't know.
I also saw, I guess Sadie Sink maybe went to the Met Gala or something, but people kept posting. They were like, oh, it's Chapel Roan.
Wait, like tonight?
Yes. And it took me a second. I was about to, show you and be like, look at Chapel Roan. And I was like, wait a second.
Amazing. Well, so she's in that play. But what makes me laugh about this play is I think about, my mom and I were in an elevator, and this lady, in New York last month, this lady gets in and she sees our playbills because we had just seen Glenn Ross, and she sees our playbills. She's holding a schnitzel. This woman just gets in the elevator, literally
New York story.
Just eating a schnitzel, and is like, "Oh, how was that show?" And I was like, "Oh, it was really good." And she was like, "I just saw John Proctor as the villain, and it was amazing." And I was like, "Oh, cool!" I had never heard of it. Yeah. And then just walks out of the elevator, and I was like, "There goes the woman."
That's
with her
actually
schnitzel.
The friendliest I've ever heard anyone being in New York.
Really? I feel like New York people are very friendly, actually.
I feel like
I've always had pretty good experiences.
Maybe it's just me. Maybe nice. I'm overly friendly, and then they're like, okay, well, never mind. anyway, was there anything else you want to say about the Tonys?
I don't think so. Just that there's like some serious snubs, and I was a little offended.
Yeah, I took
the Glenn Ross one personally.
Yeah. So my like last little thing, I have to give credit to Chris where credit is due. He brought up this topic to me because this would not have crossed my desk, is Bill Belichick's girlfriend. And the reason I find this interesting is it's just like kind of a funny story. So Bill Belichick, he was the former coach of the Patriots and now he coaches the UNC team.
I actually know who these people are.
Yeah, and that's like how, you know what I mean, where I'm just like, this sports thing crossed my desk.
Yes,
and
so
that's
obviously.
Yeah. So he is 73 and his girlfriend, her name is Jordan Hudson, is 24. And she has basically been like, up until this point, I think doing all of his like PR, basically like running his brand to the point where apparently he requested that his, again, 24-year-old girlfriend be CC'd on all of his UNC emails, which is so crazy. And so it like got brought up in like the news recently because so Bill Belichick was on CBS Sunday morning, and this was last week to promote his new book. But during the interview, the interviewer asked him how him and his girlfriend had met, and Jordan Hudson stepped in and she said, "We're not talking about this."
Like, did she step in front of the camera?
No, she just said, like, from the background, she just said, "We're not talking about this."
Oh.
And I think, like, they thought that it was maybe going to get cut, but, like, you could see, like, the reporter was just like, and they decided to keep it in because it's so fucking weird.
Yeah, I would definitely keep it in.
It's just
She's like Walton Goggins.
Yeah, it was she was like, "We're not talking about this." Like, shut it down. And the thing is, how they met on an airplane. I think it was, like, 2 or 3 years ago. She was in college. She was reading a logic textbook, studying for a test. They started talking. She asked him to like sign her book, and then like they exchanged numbers and like kept talking after that. It's not that crazy of a story, but you immediately shutting it down, being like, "We're not talking about this," makes people be like, "Wait."
Well, maybe she just didn't want to talk about the relationship in general.
I think that's what she came out, like, they later tried to say they wanted to focus it on, like, his career in the book, but just, like, it's so interesting of just being like, "We're not talking about that." Like, coming from the corner, like, this 24-year-old girl who, again, like, is being CC'd on all of his emails, is basically, like, running his brand.
Yeah.
"We're not talking about this." So then she also calls herself, like, the CEO of this mysterious company called the Trouble Club. I don't know what, I, like, try to figure it out. I don't really know what it is or what they do, but it's interesting because now he's hiring a PR and specialist instead.
Probably best.
And I just wanted to bring it up because it just was so funny to me. Like,
I mean, imagine a 24-year-old running your PR.
Imagine
being your PR
I'm 29 right now. Imagine dating a 24-year-old.
No, seriously.
That is so crazy. And, like, I know he's not dating her for this, but I'm like, what do they talk about?
But also imagine dating a 73-year-old.
Yeah.
Like, what does she...
It's crazy that, like, it's like, oh, they met on this airplane. They really connected while she was reading her logic textbook or something.
What a meet cute.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, this would maybe be mildly romantic if he weren't older than my father, you know?
She's so pretty, like, she's beautiful.
Yeah.
But there's a video of the two of them walking through, they're at a game, and it's him and her and, like, one of her friends, and she has, like, a big jacket on, and the way that she's walking, I'll have to find the video for you, she literally is walking like a teenager. You know how, like, there's, like, a certain, like, gait, and she's not
She
teenager.
was a teenager recently.
Right. But, like, it's, like, almost like, it looks like his daughter, like, just dragging behind him, kind of.
This
like,
is what I see the future of Leonardo DiCaprio. You know what I mean?
I mean, definitely.
But it's, like, it's very clear, like, I think, and props to her, like, get your bag, but it's, like, very clear, I think, that she kind of, like, I'll be honest, there's no way she's with him because it's, like, I love him, this 73-year-old man. Like, she kind of, like, swooped in and it's like, okay, like, I'm gonna take care of your stuff now.
Yeah.
Multiple innuendos there. But anyways, and, like, I'm gonna benefit from it. Like, go ahead, get your bag, girl. Like, take your logic textbook, throw it out the window, literally. Bye. Yeah, but it's just, like, again, like, a 24-year-old with no PR experience, like, of course she's just gonna be like, "We're not talking about that." And it's just so funny that CBS was like, "And that's gonna go in."
Well, yeah.
And I think it, like, has become a very, like, iconic, like, again,
I've never seen it not go in, by the way. Like, whenever somebody is, like, shuts down an interview.
Yeah.
I mean, it's usually included.
And they got, like, Bill Belichick and his team got, like, released a statement saying, like, that they were using, like, clips out of context or something like that. And it's like, well, what would the context, like, I don't think we need any additional context for that.
Yeah.
You know, like, it's just a weird thing. Like, nobody would have cared if you hadn't been so fucking weird about it.
The thing that's interesting, like, it's wild, but it's not really that crazy of a story, to be honest.
It's not that crazy of a story. It just made me laugh.
Yeah.
Like, I just was like, this is, again, I actually actively tried to avoid anything about sports, which is hard being engaged to Chris.
Yeah.
Who is like, sports is in his blood, ride or die. He was at a sports game, watching a sports game on his phone. Anyways.
Interesting.
And this, like, he mentioned it, but then even after, like, before he mentioned it, I realized, I was like, oh, this is on my feed. This is on my algorithm. There was literally a article by this woman in Slate where she's like, I don't care about sports and this is on my feed.
Yeah.
It's very interesting. We don't talk about this. We're not talking about that.
Yeah, we're not talking about this.
We don't talk about Bill Belichick. No. That was bad. The reference, it was like Bruno. We don't talk about Bruno, no.
Oh. Okay.
Okay. But we can wrap it up.
I'm not a Disney adult. I'm like, yeah, just kidding.
To clarify to everyone, I am not a Disney adult. And if you are, that's like fine. But I want people to know I am very much not.
We're not talking about this.
But to wrap it up, I think we can do our final little topic of the day. We were talking about maybe like the first of every month. We could talk about like some upcoming joys that we're excited about. Yeah. As in like upcoming movies, TV shows that are coming out in the next few weeks. Do you want to go first? Or do you want me to go first?
You can go first.
So
you seem very like you have some upcoming joys.
Yeah, this is actually like not within the next month, but I'm going to say it anyways because the ad came out earlier today and I was like, oh my God, but The Gilded Age is coming back on June 22nd.
Nice.
I really want your mom to watch The Gilded Age because I feel like she would like it. I think you would like it too. I don't know. You might find it boring though. I don't know. But Carrie Coon is like is the main star of it. One of the main stars. Meryl Streep's daughter is a star in it. Yeah. I learned recently. It's just very beautiful. It's one of the reasons also I wanted to go to Newport. That and that Bob Dylan movie.
It takes place in Newport?
Part of it does. It's in New York, but then like, in New York they go to Newport.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, so that's June 22nd for all you Gilded Age fans.
Well, this is like a mini one, but I'm really excited for Poker Face to come out.
Yeah. I don't think that's mini at all. I think that's...
I know, but that wasn't my original one. But we just saw an ad for it while watching the Met Gala red carpet. Yeah. And I'm just like, I loved season 1.
Yeah.
If you haven't watched it, it is such a good show.
It is, I think, an underrated, yes. It was, like, the people who have seen it are like, I fucking love that show. But, like, I feel like not that talked about.
It's sort of like our modern, like, our version of, like our current version of like the show Columbo, because it takes it's like a new story every episode, and what makes it interesting is like it's Natasha Lyonne plays the main character, and she's basically this person who like can tell when somebody's lying, why it's called Poker Face, and she's on the run from something that happens in the first episode.
The whole premise of the show.
Literally. And she but anyway, each episode she's meeting like new people, and there's like a different murder every episode. But what's interesting is what the murder is at the very beginning of the episode. Yeah. So it's about her solving it. And it's just like, it's so good.
I love it. I also want to know what secrets her hair holds.
Oh my gosh. Natasha Lyonne is definitely one of my girl crushes. I'm obsessed with her.
I have it. Okay.
Thank you.
Side note, do you think her voice is okay? Like, do you think she's
I love her voice.
I love it, but I'm like, it sounds painful.
Well, I think she was probably like a heavy smoker.
Yeah. But sometimes I'm concerned she's just going to like lose her voice.
She probably, I don't know, but I love her.
Yeah, I love her too. But anyways, Poker Face.
But my other one though, I sent this to Alexa the other day, and I literally like with the statement, like, if there was ever a movie made for Molly, it's this one. There's no date. They haven't, like, filmed it yet or anything, but they announced that Will Poulter, Kit Connor, and I don't know this person, actually, Manu Rios, to star in... It's a movie called Rapture, Jordan Tannehill's Rapture. And it follows... Okay, first of all, you had me at Will Poulter. But it follows a group of monks in medieval England whose peace is disrupted by the arrival of a messenger with haunted news from the outside world who rapidly shows symptoms of a mystery illness. And I was just like, hell yeah. I am seated.
I also am seated. I love anything in medieval England.
In medieval England, a group of monks, Will Poulter. Like, it's just like everything.
It's almost like guaranteed we're going to see a witch burning, and that kind of trauma I am down for.
Like I kind of just like came alive when I read that. Like, I was like, wow.
I'm excited for that. The last one I'll say is, I don't know if I'm excited for it. I saw, actually, the reason I know this is I think you posted about it, maybe on our podcast, but about like 9 Perfect Strangers.
I've never actually watched it.
Season 2 is coming out. And I loved season 1. I loved the book. I actually, the first week I moved into this house, I read the entire book. You know where I'm sitting right now as we're recording? There was a bed here, and I read the entire book from this spot.
This was the coziest guest room. I mean, it's the coziest office as well. But I remember, like, sleeping in here one night. Sorry, this isn't what we were talking about, but it was the coziest guest room ever.
It was just a bit crowded. And also, like,
God, I loved
awkward to have, like, guests and be like, at 8 a.m. on a Friday, like, hey, I have to come in here to work.
Yeah. It was just so, like, it was such a nook. There was, like, a little nook. Anyway.
It is nookie.
I posted about it because of her... I posted about it because of her wig is crazy. Yeah, it's a new wig. Her wig was
crazy in season 1 too. So what makes me mad is, did you watch Big Little Lies?
Yes.
Okay, how did you feel about season 2 of that?
So there wasn't supposed to be one, and I kind of hated it.
There wasn't supposed to be a season 2 of 9 Perfect Strangers.
I figured. And the thing is, can Nicole Kidman... First of all, slow down.
Yeah.
Like, she's in weight.
Do you think she's okay? Like, what?
I don't know, but I appreciate the hustle, but I'm also like, I would appreciate
is she in severe debt? Like,
I would appreciate the hustle more if she played different roles, but I feel like she just plays the same character and everything. Like, 9 Perfect Strangers or whatever it's called is the same to me as, like, Big Little Lies, as the perfect couple. Like, they're just they all blend together.
I think the Perfect Couple and Big Little Lies are very similar. I think 9 Perfect Strangers is actually, like, she is a little bit different. I mean, she's still playing, like, a wealthy white woman. Yeah. But she's kind of, like, this, like, kind of health guru in an interesting, like, kind of woo-woo way. It's actually, I think you would like the show. At least the first season. I just hate, and we were talking about this with Shogun, where it's like, okay, well, the book ended after season 1. The same thing with 9 Perfect Strangers. We're just making another season, even though, like, and it's never as good without it.
No, and you're just doing it for even
the only time it's ever been as good is with you, and then they, you know,
this is how bad God, they all blend together now, the names. Big Little Lies was, like, the season 2 of Big Little Lies was, like, Meryl Streep was in it, and it still was just like, this isn't necessary.
It wasn't necessary. It, like, ended, they tied it up, like, and the book is actually really good. If you haven't read the book,
I haven't read it, actually.
I think I have it if you ever want to borrow it. I have a couple of her books, but it makes me where I'm just like, okay, so we're making a season 2 because the season 1 did well, but now we're just gonna kind of, like, ruin the narrative structure.
I would love to rewatch Big Little Lies, actually. That was such a good show.
I want to live where they live.
I do too. Oh, that opening, that's, like, one of my favorite theme songs.
Yeah, it's really good. I forgot she tries to sell her virginity on the internet.
Oh, the daughter?
Yes. Someone, like, that got mentioned recently.
What does Reese Witherspoon yell when she's like, I don't give a fuck about homeless people or something? What does she say?
I don't know, but it's very funny. It's good. That's a good, yeah. But anyways, so yeah, we're going to start doing this a little bit, maybe at the beginning of every month. Just things we're excited about.
I could do it pretty much every episode.
Okay, yeah, we could do that too. But anyways, as we said throughout this episode, if you want to learn what we're up to, see our out of post context, answer our question of the week, please follow us at Poppin In Podcast on Instagram. But also we would love if you could rate, review, subscribe, share our episode with your friends or anyone you care
loved
about,
ones, and all of
or your enemies. If you hated
members.
this, go ahead, just share it. We don't care. A listen is a listen, and we appreciate your ears every week. But anyways, thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next time. Bye.